Hello everyone, this is Kaizouwar here. I have mentioned many times before that BlazBlue Chron Phantasma Extended is one of my favorite fighting games of all time. I can understand why people wouldn't think that because, you got BlazBlue Central Fiction out, and BlazBlue Central Fiction is considered the peak of BlazBlue. It has every character in the game, it's the end of Ragna's story, it has the best gameplay of the series to date, so I can understand why people wouldn't think too much of BlazBlue Chron Phantasma that came before it. But personally, for me, BlazBlue Chron Phantasma is by far the game that really solidified BlazBlue as one of my favorite fighting games ever. I started with Continuum Shift, then went backwards to Calamity Trigger, then to base Chron Phantasma, and then Chron Phantasma Extend, and the rest is history from there as I continue to the rest of the series. But playing Continuum Shift and playing Calamity Trigger, I did enjoy those games, don't get me wrong, but there was just something that didn't click with me all the way. Now, I did love those games. I mean, hell, if it wasn't for Continuum Shift and Calamity Trigger, I wouldn't be here today. But Chron Phantasma, specifically Extend, really clicked with me. It really just solidified, just like, damn, now this is some good stuff. So why not BlazBlue Central Fiction? You figured that BlazBlue Central Fiction would be my favorite BlazBlue game, considering the fact that it's literally just everything I liked about the previous games and more. Well, the thing about Central Fiction is that, like, there's a lot of things missing that I really liked about previous BlazBlue games, right? Like unlimited mode's gone, unlimited, the characters were there, like just goofy, busted ass versions of themselves that you can play with your friends and offline versus. That's gone. The dub's gone. And that's one thing that really bugs me about that game. Like, there's a lot of quality of life things that they changed up about Central Fiction compared to Chron Phantasma Extended that I'm not a big fan of, and it kind of bums me out. There's a lot of things I could talk about, but I already made tons of videos about Central Fiction, about why I like it and why there's some things I don't like it. I don't want to repeat all that stuff here. The point is, Chron Phantasma Extended is the last BlazBlue game that kind of just didn't bug me in some way, right? And it's hard to say that because I understand what a lot of people will be like, what do you mean by that? A lot of people didn't come into like Chron Phantasma. A lot of people started with Central Fiction, considering how easy it is to play the game now. You don't have to go like literally BlazBlue Central Fiction is pretty accessible now. You can play it on the Switch, you can play it on the PS3, you can play it on the PS4, you can play it on Steam, and you can play it on a bunch of different consoles, and people would normally gravitate to the most up-to-date current version of that game, which is Central Fiction, and I could totally understand that. People want to play Central Fiction because it's just the ultimate BlazBlue game to some people, right? But like, I don't know. I love Central Fiction to death. There's a lot of good things in Central Fiction. Like, it has the biggest roster to date. It has the best gameplay to date, in my personal opinion. And there's just a lot of stuff to like about the game. It's full of content, full of fun things to be had. And I like Central Fiction. I love the game to death. Like, honestly, it's a damn good game. Everyone should play Central Fiction. I'm not telling you to go back to Chron Phantasma if you don't want to, but I'm saying everyone should at least try Central Fiction. But at least for Chron Phantasma, for me, it's just, I guess you could count as nostalgia, because this one BlazBlue game is the one I put the most time in, right? When the game first came out, I just dumped so many hours into Chron Phantasma Extended. It's absolutely insane. Like, this was a game that actually, made me play online, which I'm just like, wow, I actually played online for the first, it wasn't good online, but I actually played online for the very first time, like, with this specific game. And again, this game came out in 2015. I never played another online game before that, like, seriously before. And I think that's another thing that got me deeper into Chron Phantasma Extended, is the fact that, like, there's so much here, there's so much here that pulled me forward to, like, taking these games more seriously. Like, again, I play fighting games for fun. I mentioned that in my previous videos all the time. I play these fighting games for fun. I'm not very good. I'm not trying to be competitive. I just want to play to have fun. Like, I just want to play at a casually pace. If I lose a lot, there's no big deal. I just keep trying matches until I win something. And Chron Phantasma Extended gave me that first taste into, like, damn, these games are hard. These games are hard, and everyone else online is, very strong. They can kick my ass very easily. But I think that was a good learning experience, because it was actually pretty fun playing online. There was a lot of crazy moments to be had over voice chat. Like, for real, that's the another thing I missed about playing Phantasma Extended. The voice chat was absolutely insane. People were going crazy. People I knew were going crazy. It was absolutely insane. Don't even get me started on the actual content of the game. I have said this many times before, but Chron Phantasma Extended, it just has a lot of content. Like, it has a lot of goddamn content. Like, I mentioned before that the story mode alone is absolutely insane. Like, don't even get me started on the fact that you have the full story mode of Chron Phantasma, right? The base ass story mode of Chron Phantasma, which is already huge enough, like full of gag reels, pretty big, absolutely insane. And then with the Vita version of Chron Phantasma coming out, and then they put that into the extended version of Chron Phantasma, you get the anthology story, which is just a retelling of Calamity Trigger Continuum Shift. And keep in mind, the Continuum Shift retelling also has its own gag reel, okay? Then there's the Extend stories, which covers the characters of Kagura, Kokonoe, and Bullet, which is even more content on top of that. And then finally, you get extended gag reels. You get like 8 extended gag reels, which is just gag reels for what? Terami, Azrael, Bullet, Lambda, Celica, Kokonoe, Relius, and Amane. Now keep in mind, that's a lot of story mode stuff. The one thing I love about BlazBlue is that they put a lot of emphasis on their story. Yeah, BlazBlue's story is very convoluted, right? I will admit that. Like, I think anyone who loves BlazBlue to death will admit that the BlazBlue story is convoluted, but it doesn't mean, the convoluted doesn't mean bad, right? And I really like Chron Phantasma story mode because it kind of brings a lot of characters developments full circle with a bunch of other characters like Ragna, Jin, and Noelle, the 3 main characters we've been following this entire time. And don't even get me started about the cool moments in the damn story mode. Like, there's just so much to talk about, and I want to make a separate video about just talking about the coolest moments in Chron Phantasma I like. But the point is, there's so much here. Like, the story modes alone are absolutely insane. Like, I have never seen a fighting game have this much story content in it before. Previous BlazBlue games had like story modes for like every character, right? You know, like how, like, you know, they had like their bad endings, gag reels, good endings, all that stuff, right? And that used to be for like a bunch of characters. But with Chron Phantasma, I think it's good that they streamlined it, because having to look up an online guide to play the story mode of BlazBlue Chron Phantasma, Calamity Trigger and Continuum Shift was not the best thing, right? And I had to, like, especially with Calamity Trigger. Calamity Trigger was damn near hard to get through without an online guide. Now, you can still play it like that, but I wanted everything. I wanted the whole goddamn story mode, and seeing all the crazy things they wanted to do, like they wanted you to do in order to unlock the bad endings or the gag reels or stuff like that, was asinine. And I'm kind of glad that they streamlined it. I know a lot of people are not a fan of it and people miss the individual story modes, but like, we have 28 characters in this game. I don't think like a full story mode, like for everyone, for all 28 characters, would have been feasible. I just wouldn't like that. Yeah, there's a lot of content in this game regarding the story. BlazBlue's really put a lot of emphasis on its story and its characters, and I'm happy to see that they found a good way of trying to, you know, combine all of it together. Now, with just Chron Phantasma, like base Chron Phantasma 1.0, you really just had the main Chron Phantasma story mode, the 6 hero story mode, and the Sector 7 story mode, which is, you know, the main story mode, right? But I guess I mentioned before, with Extend, you get the anthology story modes, which is pretty funny with its own gag reel. You get the extend stories, you get the extended gag reels, which, like, they didn't have to do that. Like, some games just barely do the bare minimum when it comes to story content, right? A new game comes out and they release an upgrade version, which is just like, hey, we got just more characters, right? Just more characters, maybe one new mode, but most of the time it's just one, like, just a couple new characters, and that's about it, right? But like, when BlazBlue does its extended versions, they go all out. They put like way more than they have any right to put in here. Like, again, as I mentioned before, like the Vita version of Chron Phantasma 1.0 just added like the anthology story mode, but like with like, and they didn't have to do that. That was just a port of the game to Vita, and they just added story mode, like 2 little anthology story modes, just because they wanted to. Just because they could, and add a new exclusive gag reel until Extend. Hey, we just put that in the game. Now you can like watch. Now you can like play what the Vita had, and then on top of that, we gave you extended stories, and we gave you extended gag reels, 8 of them. Which, like, I just, how? And it first bums me out when I look at Central Fiction, and then like they just drop like some of the gag reels down to like, now we have like what, 4. And it sucks because those gag reels just aren't even as funny to me now because they're not dubbed, which I will be talking about that dub again. But they're not dubbed, and it's just not as funny. You know, I think that's the one thing that like makes BlazBlue super amazing to me, is that Chron Phantasma Extend has one of the best like dubs in video game history. And yeah, that might sound like an incredible exaggeration, but I really do believe that ain't just video game history, just in history. Like, one of the best dubs ever made, like ever. Like, whoever is in charge of choosing these voice actors for these characters is doing a damn good job. People at Axis, like, I don't know how they do it. I don't know how, but they do it. Like, I'm not saying the Japanese voice actors aren't terrible, because they're amazing as well. I don't know how, like, again, I don't know how the Japanese side is doing this either. They know how to get these people to fit these characters, but like the English dub is just on a different like level, man. Like the deliveries by every single character, it never feels awkward, it never feels stilted, it feels incredibly natural, as if the voice actors themselves are these characters, right? And I think that's one thing that carry over to BlazBlue Cross, which is great, because I'm glad they brought back a lot of the voice actors, damn near all of them, and even including new ones for like series that didn't have it, like Under Night, you know, for these characters that just absolutely fit them. Like they do a damn good job at like portraying these characters amazingly. Like that's the sad thing about people who come into Central Fiction. They just don't know about the amazing dub work. And some people probably don't care. A lot of people don't care about English dubs, but I want people to know that BlazBlue had a really good one. I don't want people to kind of discount that, because I believe that Chron Phantasma had the best English dub ever made. Like, I think that, you know, it could be an exaggeration, but I do believe it does. I do believe it has the best English dub ever made. And they think about it, they dubbed everything. In the previous BlazBlue games, like Calamity Trigger and Companionship, they had some little, you know, texts and stuff where like the voices, you know, there was no voice dialogue for it, right? Fair enough, right? That's a lot of voice dialogue, but like there is so much dialogue and text in this game that is all fully dubbed. And keep in mind, as I mentioned before, they added extra story stuff. Like the story mode, fully dubbed. The anthologies, which are like damn near 30 minutes in total, including the gag reel, about an hour, right? All the extra story modes, all dubbed. Extended gag reels, all dubbed. And those extended gag reels go up to 20 to 30 minutes. All dubbed. And don't get me started the fact that they still have the Teach Me Miss Lychee thing, where they're teaching you the lore about the BlazBlue world, right? There's like, what, 6 tips that are like, they go up to they teach you about the BlazBlue world, they go up to about 30 minutes each, I think. It's hard to tell without actually watching it to try to time it, but all dubbed. They added a story mode for Remix Heart, which is the manga spinoff of BlazBlue, following the character of Mai Natsume, and her, you know, while she's in school with other BlazBlue characters like Noelle Vermilion, Makoto Nania, Tsubaki Yayoi, you know, and that's all dubbed as well. That's just, there's so much stuff, just so much that's just been voiced, and it's been voiced really well. Like, I just, too much. And there's also the arcade mode. I completely forgot about the arcade mode. All that's dubbed as well. Like, there's no, like, just no empty text where the characters aren't saying nothing. All this voice work. Like, there's so much voice work. Like, way too much. And it's awesome that they actually fully voiced the tutorial mode. That's the one thing I always forget that they do in every BlazBlue game. But they fully voiced the tutorial mode. And in this game, and, well, in Continuum Shifts as well, but in this game, they fully dubbed it. Again, that is something that they just don't have to do. Like, they don't have to dub the tutorial mode. They didn't have to do that. They didn't have to voice it at all. Like, that's insane. What the hell? I already mentioned this at one point in the video, but again, the amount of stuff in Chron Phantasma Extend is unbelievable. Like the gallery mode alone is just absolutely gigantic. Like, not only get all the like big artwork like that they have, you know, people who come over to the Art System Works to make, or like they just go get special guests. They have a ton of artwork in this game, all of which you don't have to have some dumbass level requirement to unlock like you did back in Calamity Trigger and Companionship. You just buy with the in-game currency, which you get a generous amount of. Like, that's the one thing I miss about old BlazBlue games. When you got in-game currency, you got a lot of it, right? Like, I could play the Abyss mode of this game, right, and get a lot of in-game currency. And not only I'm leveling myself up in the Abyss mode, but I can still get a bunch of money for it, right? And they give you options to earn more by putting yourself at risk against certain enemies in the mode, which is just awesome. And that's one thing that Central Fiction doesn't have. Like, you don't have a lot of opportunities to earn in-game currency like you used to. And that bums me out about Central Fiction, because like there's a lot of stuff that in the game to unlock, and you can't really unlock it like at your own like you want to. There's the unlimited characters, which, man, I want to make a video about unlimited characters one day, but I miss unlimited characters. Unlimited characters, they were broken as hell. They were busted, and they were so broken and busted. There's a whole ass mode made for them called Unlimited Mars where you can test yourself against them. But I just miss unlimited characters so much, man. It was just so fun being able to just goof around with these high level characters. Like, and these, obviously you couldn't play online with them. Obviously, you couldn't play online with them. There was no way. But it was a fun, casual thing you could just goof off with your friends with. And I think that's the one thing I miss about BlazBlue. Is that it's a game that you could just pick, like Chron Phantasma Extend, which is a game you could pick up and goof around with your friends, which is a bunch of other stuff, right? I really miss that. I really do miss that. It sucks that they don't have that thing in Central Fiction, which is weird. Like that's one thing I figured I would have carried over. That's unlimited characters have been a thing since Calamity Trigger. Now, granted, they only had like a few characters back in the day, but like that's been a thing, like for BlazBlue. And it sucks that Central Fiction kind of just said, nah, we're not doing that shit anymore. We're not doing no goddamn unlimited characters no more after that shit. But seriously though, like I miss that stuff. And like Chron Phantasma Extend just has a bunch of cool stuff, like arcade modes for everybody, a very expansive Abyss mode, which is super fun to go through multiple times to grind for stuff. There's the Unlimited Mars mode, as I mentioned before, where you can get pitted against like extremely overpowered characters. But that's one fun thing about it. It's fun to try to see what can you do, like how far you can go, and how goofy these crazy ass characters are. Like there's so many like hidden moves. That's like that unlimited characters have hidden moves, man, that you won't even know unless you look it up online. And I think that's another cool thing that I just miss about BlazBlue. Just Unlimited Mars mode, I hated it. I hate Unlimited Mars mode, but like it's the fact that it's gone really bums me out. Hell, they had another mode called Highlander Assault mode. So Highlander Assault mode is basically a giant boss battle in the game. There's this. Long story short, there's this enemy in the game called Takebi Kazuchi. It's a giant monster thing, and you get to fight him in the story mode, right? And so, hey, how about we just put him off, take him out of the story mode, like he's in the story mode. If you beat him, you beat the game, and yada yada. How about we just put him in his own mode and make him stronger? Which I'm like, what? And you can play, like, against Takebi Kazuchi with any character. Because in the story mode, you only fight, against him with Ragna, Jin, and Noelle, right? But in Highlander Assault mode, you can play literally anyone to test your mettle against Takebi Kazuchi, which they didn't have to do that. They did not have to do that. He could have just been a story mode boss, like to the very end. But no, they straight up just say, hey, how about you can play against him, but with anyone? And that's another thing I missed too, giant boss battles. I always thought that like in BlazBlue Central Fiction, we were gonna have a giant boss battle against like the Black Beast, but that never came to be, which is really a missed opportunity, but god damn it, whatever, it is what it is, I guess. But there's just so much in this game, and I really, really, really miss it. Like I just miss like when BlazBlue had like content. Central Fiction has content, don't get me wrong, but it's like so much, like it's gone, like so much is trimmed down. And then like you got like Cross Tag Battle, which is even more trimmed down. And like Arc System Works has been doing this with their games lately, where they just like there's no content anymore. Like Guilty Gear Strive, look at that compared to Guilty Gear XR Rev 2. Content, like stripped bare, right? And then like you got Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, which has a lot of content in it, don't get me wrong, but like it doesn't have, it just, some of it is like online only and it's Battle Pass related, which no, lame. But yeah, I miss the good old days. I miss the good old days of BlazBlue Chron Phantasma Extend. This is why this game means a lot to me. It was a moment in time where like Arc System Works were at the peak. Like for me personally, this game is peak Arc System Works. And the fact that like, we live in an era where these type of games don't get made anymore, just incredibly sad. Now, I remember back in the day where this game did come out, and then like obviously, like when I was like, okay, this is awesome. I got the upgraded version of the Chron Phantasma, because I love Chron Phantasma, but Extend just solidified is one of my favorite games of all time. Then you get the announcement of BlazBlue Central Fiction, and I felt kind of turned, but that's because it took a while for this game to get localized and sent overseas and stuff like that. But that's beside the point. That's really beside the point. But the point is, I really do love this game. Like, we're never going to get this game again, which is insane. Like, we're never going to get another BlazBlue game like this again, where there's just so much, like, heart put into it, right? Again, I've mentioned this before already. I've said this a couple times already. Central Fiction is a really good game. Don't get me wrong, but there's just a lot of things in the game that bug me. Like it's not like it ruins the game for me, but it just kind of just doesn't feel like the BlazBlue game it should be. Now, it has a lot of characters. It's fun to play. Damn good gameplay. It's just a lot of stuff in it. But, like, I don't know, man. But I just feel like Chron Phantasma was, specifically Extend. I gotta say specifically Extend, because Chron Phantasma and Extend has, quite different stuff between them, right? A lot more stuff in Chron Phantasma Extended, but there's just a lot of heart put into this game. That's the one thing I miss about old BlazBlue games. So just the heart was there. There was a bunch of stuff in these games that just did not need to, like, they didn't have to be in there. They didn't have to just bother putting a lot of story mode stuff for all these characters. Or they didn't have to bother dubbing literally every facet of this game. They didn't have to do that. They didn't have to put a lot of gag reels in the game. They didn't have to put a ton of story mode content in these games. They didn't have to. They didn't have to put a goddamn Teach Me Miss Lychee mode where they just humorous, crazy stuff just to have fun with the characters. They didn't have to do that, but they did. And I think that's what made these games special to me. Like, there's so much heart put into these BlazBlue games. And in Central Fiction, the heart is just kind of not there. Like, it's not gone entirely, right? There's a bunch of goofy shit in BlazBlue Central Fiction that I like, but it just feels like by then the good times are just kind of gone, right? To me personally, right? And again, as I said before, Central Fiction, amazing game, awesome, lovely, everyone should play it. Everyone should play it, pick it up, have fun with their friends, all that. But it's just by then, like, the heart of what I felt that used to be in the BlazBlue games gone, right? Like, Clemmy Trigger, Continuum Shift, and Chron Phantasma. These games, obviously all games are made to make a profit, right? But these games felt like more than that. Like before Central Fiction, these games felt more than that. They felt like these games were made with a lot of love and a lot of passion and just a lot of just a lot of good stuff. You know, they want these people to have fun with these games, to have fun with these characters like they do, right? And as I said before, Central Fiction has that too. It just doesn't have it like it did before. And especially when they try to rush the game out, and not even bother dubbing it, and the localization kind of suffers for it. Clearly Trigger has some issues, but it was a start. You have to start somewhere. Even if it's not the best start, you have to start somewhere. And Continuum Shift in Chron Phantasma and then Extend and all the extended versions just show how good these games could be, and they did. But I think that's all I really wanted to say. I don't want to drag out this video any longer than I have to. But yeah, these games, fun. I love Chron Phantasma Extend to death. Even though it's just an upgraded version of the original Chron Phantasma, they upgraded it in all the right ways, right? This game wasn't just yeah, granted, it only introduced one new character to the roster. I know, I feel like that's the one complaint that people are going to have, like, about this game. Because Lambda was already a playable character in Continuum Shift, right? And granted, they only introduced Celica as a new playable character. But, like, I feel like the fact that they add so much more kind of makes Celica being the only new character pretty, like, minor in the grand scheme of things. Like, it just, like, I don't think about that when I play this game. I don't think the fact that Celica is just the one new character in the game. I don't think about that. I think about all the good shit and all the content and all the cool characters in this game. I don't think about that Celica as just the one new character. I think about, damn, there's a lot of stuff in this game that I have fun with. A lot of ton of colors, a lot of fun characters, a lot of unlimited stuff, a lot of just old music from previous BlazBlue games, a lot of old stages coming back, a lot of, like, shit in the gallery that I could look at, because there's a ton of art here that'll take you further to unlock. Those are the good old days. I think those are the good old days of BlazBlue for me, and I'm never going to forget it. So thank you a lot for Chron Phantasma Extended for, you know, being just the damn best fighting game I've ever played.